So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Good
Welcome
evening,
back to the
everyone.
International Conference on Inclusive Insurance 2020 Digital Edition. Welcome to the session number 14, Innovative Distribution Models, High Touch versus Low Touch. Welcome to the panelists. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking the time. And a very big thank you to Barbara Magnoni for organizing and hosting this session. I'm really looking forward to that session with a very diverse panel. And I hand over the microphone to you, Barbara.
Okay, thank you. Can everybody hear me? If you can't, you can use the chat function anytime. We are keeping all of you on mute, but I can also see some of your thumbs up, which is really nice and friendly this morning. Today we have a really, I think, interesting set of practitioners that will be collaborating with us, and I'll introduce them in a moment on this session. I wanted to, before we begin, give a few words just to kind of set the frame for the conversation, and also kind of give you a few tips on how to be an effective participant in this session. So I'll begin just really briefly by sharing our panelists. We have three speakers and myself, Ashokh Shah, who is the CEO, Apollo Group and APA Insurance in Kenya. We have Francisco Reyes, who is a co-founder and CEO of Mango Life in Mexico. And we have Mauricio Osorio Sanchez, who is the president of Crezcamos in Colombia. What's interesting about this panel is that you will hear from three different perspectives: an insurer in Africa, you have a intermediary in Mexico, and a microfinance institution or distributor in Colombia. So before we begin, I wanted to just introduce myself for those of you who don't know me and haven't worked with me in the past. I am president of EA Consultants. We're specialized in understanding the financial lives of low-income households and also in understanding the business models of the organizations that serve them. And we do these two things in order to make sure that our interventions provide value across all shareholders and all stakeholders, sorry. I will just show you, we do this globally all over the world. And today we have representatives from some of the organizations that we've worked with, as well as others on this panel. Just a sense of the different clients that we've worked with, both financial institutions, insurers, multilateral organizations, governments, and nonprofits. So I want to just kind of frame this conversation and say, a lot of what we do is understanding how low-income households cope with financial shocks. Sorry, I'm admitting people while I'm talking, so it's a bit distracting. And how they manage their financial lives. And we all know that this can vary very much in low-income contexts. And we understand that, that understanding of the client really helps us design product strategies and distribution models that serve low-income households in the best possible way. And it is also one of the best ways to develop a successful insurance strategy, where we have kind of a framing that starts with educating potential customers, reinforcing that education, offering value, and then eventually driving demand through that value. And it's a process, and building an insurance strategy is a process value proposition. Today, we're going to talk about a very specific aspect of that, which is something that I actually, as I was getting ready for today, I saw a presentation that I made at this very same conference 6 years ago on this very same topic. So hopefully we've developed and evolved since. 6 years ago, we came to the conference and we looked at two models in Colombia, actually, that were both low touch or no touch, where there was no physical contact or physical outreach to clients. And we looked at a more high touch model. And what we found is that across the spectrum, we found that the no-touch models reached more financially included households as well as men, whereas the higher touch models reach more women and unbanked. And that made us think a lot about, you know, the level of touch and making sure that you're not skipping certain steps in order to maybe reach scale or be more effective cost-wise at the expense of reaching women, unbanked, and excluded households, right? So we kind of presented this framework in the context of a study we did with the Milk Project and talked a bit about how no touch might be tapping into a demand that already exists, whereas the higher touch is really creating value and creating demand. We also talked about how in some cases, when we have these no touch models, we actually aren't necessarily reaching markets that already have a demand, but rather we're building demand through this kind of freemium or bundling type of strategy, which we've seen quite a bit of in the last years. That strategy starts with, you know, kind of incentivizing take up through a free model or a bundled model, providing a positive experience, building trust through that positive experience, building value through that experience, and then eventually allowing for a lower touch model overall. So those are sort of the things that where we stopped 6 years ago. I think where we were stuck 6 years ago, and what I'd like for us to focus on a bit today is how much touch do we need to convert customers from people who we have contact with to people who we can actually convert into paying policyholders? And what are the distribution models that are sustainable that can also target these excluded households in the process? As we listen to our speakers, I have some things I'd like you to listen for. One is, how can digital tools help increase conversion? How can physical tools help increase conversion? Are we talking about an either or proposition, physical or digital? Or can there be a phygital cohabitation or kind of in-between point? And if so, is there a business case that already exists for that? Or are we still kind of developing this as we go? The session structure, we're gonna have a presentation, a brief presentation from our three panelists. We'll have some panel discussion after that, and then finally some time for Q&A. And just some housekeeping. Most of you, not all, will have at the bottom of your screen a little globe that says interpretation. This session will be held in English, but one of our speakers speaks only Spanish. When he speaks, we will have somebody translating his presentation. We don't have a professional simultaneous translator, so please be patient with that. I will also try in the closed captioning to put some highlights of the points on the screen so you can follow along there as well, but just be sure to select English if you want to hear that translation. Also, please participate in the polls, in the Q&A, in the chat room. You can ask questions all along the way, and hopefully our panelists will be able to continue to answer even while we're doing other things. Also, please, if you can remove your video, I think it will help the connection for some of the other panelists. Certainly, please mute during the conversation so we don't have interruptions, and raise your hand for Q&A or provide some questions in the chat. So here are our panelists again. And before we begin, what I would like to start with, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And what I would like to start with, just to kind of warm you guys up, is with a couple of polls. So you have 3 quick questions here. I'll read them as we go along. The first is, can insurers build a sustainable, inclusive insurance business with no face-to-face client contact? I missed the contact word, so yes, no, maybe. The second question is, do you need high-touch methods to build awareness of insurance, inclusive insurance products? Yes, no, I am not sure. And finally, can insurers sustainably convert clients in your lead pipeline to policyholders without the face-to-face contact? Again, yes, all clients, only some clients, no, and I'm not sure. So I'm going to give you, while we have our speakers getting ready, Francisco is going to be the first. So Francisco, maybe while we watch the poll, you can start sharing your screen. And we'll give a couple of minutes to finish these questions just to sort of see where everybody is at on this topic before we begin. Okay, so we have 74 votes, and I'm going to just quickly share these. So can insurers build a sustainable, inclusive insurance business with no face-to-face client contact? The majority of the responses are yes, but I would say if we add up, this is like the elections. If we add up the no and the maybe, we get closer to a tie. Certainly there's still a lot to discover, but it's interesting that so many of you do think that this is possible. I think that's a big change from where we were 6 years ago. Do you need high touch methods to build client awareness of insurance products? Here we have also kind of a tie between the yes, no, and I'm not sures, but 53% of you do think so. And only some clients are the ones that you believe can sustainably be converted without face-to-face contact. So this is really great, great way to start the conversation. And I'm going to pass it over to Francisco now.
Thanks, Barbara. Do you hear me well?
Perfect.
Great. Interesting results of the poll and very positive. I agree with 2 of the 3 questions. So let's move on the topic. My name is Francisco Reyes. I'm CEO and co-founder of Mango Life, and I will explain about our journey, what we have doing in the last 2 years, and also making emphasis in the high touch versus low touch aspects that in Mango Life we handle. So let's get on. First of all, I would like to start saying that Mango Life is a broker, a 100% digital broker of life and health insurance in Mexico. We were the first one in doing this, the broker for these products. All we had before Mango Life in Mexico was related to, in distribution, was related to car insurance. I used to work in a car insurance company, and then I switched as an entrepreneur to create Mango Life. We're operating since September 2018. So we've been around the market for the last 2 years, iterating and learning how to sell these kind of products completely digital. We started Mango Life because we saw a very huge protection gap in Mexico. Regarding life insurance, we only 50% of the working population in Mexico has life insurance, while only 7% of the population have access to private health insurance in Mexico. And 40% of the health costs in Mexico come from out-of-pocket expenses of the users. So that's a great opportunity to start penetrating with simple and digital insurance. That was our hypothesis. The problem we saw, why this is going on, we think that life and health insurance as offered by traditional channels is too complex to understand and acquire. And we think that's where the foundation of the problem is, and that's where we are trying to solve. That's why our approach is simple, human, and digital. We say it's simple because we try to make flexible and simplified insurance the user finally understands and needs. We say it's human because we try to be, despite not being any face-to-face contact, or not any, but low touch. In this case, we try to make conversational flows, like creating these characters that make you feel that you're talking with someone, even though it's not a human. It's a little mango, but it's a humanized character that guides you through the process of purchasing. So, and then we try to choose in our communication the less jargon possible. Of course, we cannot get rid of the jargon at all, but we try to make it a more human conversation, not that technical conversation. And the digital part, well, we basically promise that you can purchase your insurance completely online in your smartphone or laptop device. To put it more in a tangible way, our value proposition, we say that we changed a process that took days or weeks by traditional channels, and a matter of minutes. So we have dramatically improved our underwriting process. What our products, what are we selling? Just to give you an idea of what kind of products we are offering. We have a life insurance, which is a classic life insurance, but with some characteristics. It's a basic death coverage. We have a level premium to make it easier for the user, and we have a term fixed at 65 years old. At this point, we are not giving any other options for the term. So we say the premium is level, and the user can cancel anytime if he wants. We offer flexible sums. The user can choose between sums from 5K to 160K USD. The premiums go as low as from $13 monthly. And we have simplified underwriting. The user has not passed to any medical exam. He or she just wants to answer, just needs to answer 4 questions related to their health, and basically to be between 18 and 60 years old. For our health insurance product, we have simplified coverages. This is, I put there at 2.0 because this is our second version of the product in talking about simplified health insurance. In this case, we have different coverages. We have a dread disease coverage that includes cancer. This coverage works as an indemnity coverage. We offer hospital cash with a daily sum per day in the hospital. We have permanent disability coverage also in an indemnity modality. We offer telemedicine. This means video consultation 24/7 with doctors, and we have a dental coverage also included. No, there are no deductibles or co-payments in the insurance, as you can foresee in the coverages, to make it more simple. Also, there is no medical network to let the user go to the hospital he prefers. As we operate as indemnity coverages, we just need the paperwork at the process of claim of the hospitalization or of the medical diagnostic. The premium also is level to make it more simple for the user. There's no quotation at all. It's just 3 plans that we have available, and the premiums go from $9 per month, very affordable to include all these coverages. And also we have a simplified underwriting with no medical exam, just one medical question to assess your health. The target groups we are aiming for life insurance is the classic household. Sometimes it's a male household, sometimes it's a female family. We say we have an increase in the way of families are formed. In some cases, the woman is the head of the family, and there are a lot of single mother in this case. They need more protection than 2 parents family. And also for health insurance, we are aiming to self-employed without health benefits. We have a great segment of population that is working as freelancers or autonomous workers. So they are not affiliated to the public health system at all. So they need protection, most of any other segment. And there is another interesting segment in Mexico, which is underinsured baby boomers, or boomers, we say, who are shifting to online habits, to digital habits. And for them, we're talking about people plus 40 years old, which the classic health insurance has become very, very expensive. So this becomes a simplified and affordable way to have a backup in case of something happens regarding the health. To give you an idea of how our B2C, our go-to-market looks like, I made this flow where we are, the foundations are 2. How we attract digitally is these 2 ways: paid traffic that we call performance marketing, and organic and direct traffic that we call inbound marketing. Perhaps these 2 terms are familiar from some of you. The first one consists of paying platforms for getting traffic, for getting leads, and eventually getting conversions. You will see in the map. And for inbound marketing, it's about creating content, creating authority, giving value to the users. So both ways give you to the same path, but with a slightly different way. For the paid traffic, it's more straightforward. You paid in Google, they go to the product and landing pages. For the organic and direct traffic, they go to a website, a blog, a content, a video, and then at the end, it's a redirection to the product pages. Then we have our own quotation apps we have developed and customized to our products. It's our own custom development, IT development. We have an app for life, an app for health. When I say app, are web applications. Everything works based on web. And then finally, this becomes into a sale. What happens here in the quotation apps is where the high touch starts. Until this point, everything is very much low touch. Everything is automated. Everything is just working on marketing and content. But here, the sales process, I think it's important to show you how does it look like, where is the high touch in Mango Life, because I said that we had 100% digital broker, but we do need some human help, and you will see where and how. So I explained we have the traffic sources, different traffic, organic or paid, the landing page and quotation apps that I mentioned. Any person that makes a quotation for us, we classify as a marketing qualified lead. That means someone that is ready to get marketing messages. Then we have everyone that accepts a quotation in our application, in our web app. It goes through a checkout process. It's like a checkout of any other e-commerce, but for insurance, it's a bit different, the checkout. It's a bit longer because we have regulation, the KYC, we have underwriting if applies. We have additional info to request to the user, like beneficiaries, for example. And we have the payment, that's the classic checkout of all e-commerce. So everyone that abandons here at this step, we classify, or we say it's a sales qualified lead. That means that is someone that accepted the quote, but for some reason in the checkout, something was not, he or she didn't feel very comfortable about finishing, or something happened that the user abandoned the process. So at this point, enters the high touch, and we call these sales qualified leads that we work on them opportunities. We give a follow-up, a human follow-up through WhatsApp and outbound calls, also emails, but basically it's a very manual follow-up to find out what happened in the checkout process that the user didn't continue the quotation. And at the end, this leads in one way or another to a customer. We have customers that go from this point to this point in minutes. We have customers that go to this point and passes through opportunity to customer in weeks. We have different kind of customers. That's why I saw in the poll that you say for some clients, we can make a complete distribution online. And yes, it's kind of true. For some clients are ready to pass through this funnel completely online. We will discuss this later in the panel. And recently, besides our B2C, we start exploring another way, another go-to-market strategy, which is the B2B2C strategy. And let me explain it very quickly. How does it look like? First, we have the risk carrier, the insurance partner. Then we have Mango Life, which is us, the intermediary. We have the partner. We are one target of one kind of partners that we are aiming. We're targeting are neobanks in this case. Let me put this example, because neobanks, there are a new wave for challenger banks that are getting into the market, and we think that's a great opportunity to talk about insurance. If my bank is already completely digital, why not my insurance? That's why we choose this kind of partners. And then we have the users, which is the partners and users. So Mango Life makes all the negotiation, all the product setup with the risk carrier. And with the partner, we also make a technical integration. So we are like a bridge to solve all the complexity regarding insurance for the neobank. And finally, we make a product offer to the users of the neobank in this case. So this is another way to go digitally. This is another traffic source, and this is a way to leverage all the IT development, all the product development that we have to create a new front end through our partners. And finally, I just would like to share you how COVID impacts us, if it was positive or negative, and how does it look like. For us, we launched a new health insurance when COVID was in the highest exposure in Mexico in March 2020. It was kind of a coincidence because we were planning since the end of 2019, but then it came COVID, and at the same time we launched our product. So it was very convenient because we have an increase of risk perception and a preference for digital health services. We had to pause our 2 other products. We also offer pension and education products. But even though, despite we paused the products, we had a 30% growth on sales on life and health insurance. So there was kind of some ups and downs, but at the end, there were more positive impact than negative. Here, I would like to stop to give the opportunity also to the other panelists to share the story, and very happy to solve any questions in the Q&A section. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Francisco. This is super interesting. We're a little short on time, so I'm going to ask Ashokh if you can start sharing your screen. I did forget to mention a housekeeping issue that is important, which is that this session is being recorded both in audio and video. And so you'll be able to access it in the future, but if that is not okay with you, you should be aware. Ashokh, now you will share your screen and we'll move to you.
Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Interesting times. We are all on virtual and throughout the world, so which is very, this is a unique conference. I'd like to go to my screen and basically, what we have is, my title is Innovation Distribution Models, but if, we still are in Kenya as APA, we're still basically doing a lot of things with high touch. Let me tell you a little bit about APA Apollo. We are one of the largest insurance companies in Kenya. We serve both individuals and corporates across the country. Our flagship company was formed after the merger of the general business of Apollo Insurance and Pan Africa Insurance. And we have over 100 years of combined history. The thing that is driving us is our passion for insurance, and basically our passion to bring insurance to as many people as possible in Kenya and East Africa. So what we have is that we have to understand the market. Why are we talking about high touch? The awareness of insurance is very, very limited to the people we are targeting. There is not enough category knowledge. Traditional way of marketing is still relevant. Intermediation of the traditional market is important. We use a lot of aggregators who actually take the product to the people who need it the most. And there is a need of frequent communications by customers. CV-19 has made some difference, but it's not made a difference in the market that we are targeting. What's happening is that COVID has basically seen our other classes of business, the traditional classes of business, motor, corporate, etc., moving a lot more to low touch, but the farmers and the pastoralists that we are targeting are really all high touch. To them, insurance is invisible and is intangible. So what happens is we have to explain to them that at the end, what insurance is all about. And so we also have to build trust. We have to go have outreach, and we have to have understanding. And the worry that we have, like everybody else who is in micro insurance, is how are you going to really reach your clients with very little, who are going to pay very little amounts, but at the same time require a high need for distribution. So we would like to think about digitization will be a great change, but it will take some time in coming. So the area that the way we have done is that we are outreaching the clients through different areas. One is partners. I'll talk about some of the partners later on, but also we are developing existing community-based resources. We call we have called when we do our livestock insurance, we have VIPs. VIPs are village insurance promoters. They basically go to the market, to the people that need the livestock cover, and explain to them what it is all about. The technology that is used is really to process of enrollments and claims, because claims, when they are paid on mobile phones. We don't pay any physical claims. And we use simple mobile-based solutions such as USSD and SMSs to educate the farmers. On partnerships, we've done a lot of different areas that we've really gone into. We've tied up with a Paygo solar solution provider, Azuri. Then we have tied up with Caritas through World Food Program. Caritas is the Christian organization which basically looks after the Christian community in certain parts of Kenya. Then we have One Acre Fund, which has got a large community of farmers. Through One Acre Fund, we can reach about 500, 600,000 farmers. Other partners is Pula, Acre Africa, who basically are the intermediaries. Then we have got Apollo Agriculture, which benefit is financial for like other MFIs with other for financials. Then we have tied up recently with an organization called Arifu. Through Arifu, we are doing SMS marketing to farmers, telling them about the covers that we have and what that it can do for them and registering them. But the main thing is really building up trust. Um, you know, to a farmer who is basically looks at a tangible product. A pastoralist again as a tangible product. Insurance is not a tangible product. So we bundle it with something else, which the partner is offering. And what would happen is that they will then make sure that when their people go, when their sales force goes to the field, they will talk about the different products that they are available that can help protect them and look after their needs. But the main one that we would, which we have really looked at, is that there are two main programs which we've talked about before in different conferences. The Kenya Agriculture Insurance Program is the area yield insurance cover that we provide to farmers in the smallholder farmers. And then there's the Kenya Livestock Insurance Program, which is the livestock cover that we provide to the pastoralist northern Kenya. Now, the interesting thing about the livestock program is that we don't insure the animal. What we insure is the availability of forage on the ground. And when the measurement of the forage on the ground is done by NVDI technology, the satellite pictures are taken and they're deciphered. And when we see the forage has gone down below a certain amount, there's a trigger announced, and we pay the pastoralist by mobile phone so that they can buy food stock for their animals or take them to another part of the county. So we on the agriculture side, area yield, we have covered 30 of 47 counties, and on the pastoralist side, we are now covering about 14 counties. Cumulatively, we have reached over 1 million smallholder farmers since 2016, and we're actually growing that this year. This year is the first time when we are doing the short train covers for farmers on a large scale. the things that we want to make sure that farmers are aware that we pay out pastoralists and farmers, the payouts are in time. We have to give them awareness, and we provide simplified and transparent policy conditions. Actually, like what Fabricio said, is that we actually, we have very simple policies, simple conditions, so that there is not enough, not much red tape in our products. These are the things that we make the awareness to the pastoralists and the farmers. Just very quickly, and then we go to, and we have barazas. Barazas are meetings where you teach them about different things and different ways, telling them what insurance is all about. And this is the brochures that we would take to when we are going to the farmers. But the one thing is, the lessons that we have learned is that one is that without the government support, and agriculture and livestock requires government support, because if the government does not support you, then obviously it's very difficult to get to the scale that you want to. And throughout the world, agriculture has only really worked where government support is there. The other one is trust. The trust is from the community that you are selling to, the farmers you are selling to, and making sure that when the claims have to be paid, they get them in time. Pricing is a difficult area. The pricing can be very high, up to 18% for a season. So that's something that we need to see how we can reduce it. But if the government did not pay the subsidies, then obviously it would be out of the reach of the farmers. And for risk sharing, there's something that we have done which is unique. I think in many, it's very few parts of the world that you are able to have this pool. What we have done is that we went to like-minded companies and we said, can we please join hands and create an agriculture pool where we will share part of the risk, and we will be able to get reinsurance, so that reinsurers also see that we are retaining a certain part of the risk. So we have got 7 companies which are like-minded, and APA is the leader. And we have so far, our target is that today we are insuring crops worth 2.5 billion, but we would like to reach 10 billion, but that can only be possible because of the partnership that we have. Now, moving to digital, there's something that we are doing which is very, very similar to Mango Life. We're just producing a product where we want to launch it within the next few weeks. And that is a micro life product. Again, the policy conditions are very modest, low premium of $2, modest sum insured of $1,000 per life. Same premium for everybody up to age 60. Distribution is by USSD and mobile apps and aggregators. So we tie up with aggregators so that they can then give it to their community. And if at the end of the 12 months, if there is no claim, we will give a cashback of 50% of the annual premium. So $12 goes back to the insured. So it's something that we feel that people will appreciate, that while they're paying the premiums, there is something at the end that they get. So with that, I'd like to end our presentation and then wait for the questions and answers and panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Ashokh. This is fascinating. And I would love to just let you know that the questions will be in the chat. If you see any questions addressed to you, feel free to respond before the Q&A time in case we run out of time later. I'm going to move the conversation now to Mauricio Osorio from Crezcamos. Mauricio will talk also about some agricultural insurance. So I think it's going to be very interesting to kind of contrast these different approaches and the evolution of these approaches as they move toward digital. Mauricio, just for those of you who joined us a little bit later, is going to be speaking in Spanish. If you would like interpretation, there's a little globe at the bottom of your screen. You can hit English there and make sure that You will get a not live translation, but semi-live translation. I'm also going to make an effort to put a few things in the closed caption as well. Gracias, Mauricio.
Gracias, Bárbara. Gracias a todos por la invitación. Mi nombre es Mauricio Osorio, soy el presidente de Crezcamos, compañía de financiamiento. Diego, ¿está bien? Bárbara.
Sí, adelante. Creo que no lo vas a escuchar, pero está bien.
Ok. Nosotros somos una compañía que nos hemos especializado en una tesis frente a los clientes, y es que nosotros nos llamamos sembradores de progreso, para que cada una de las familias y cada uno de los clientes que nosotros atendemos puedan mejorar su calidad de vida en la medida en que trabajan con nosotros. En estos últimos 10 años de experiencia, Crezcamos ha atendido más de 480,000 familias, ha entregado más de 891,000 créditos y ha facilitado el acceso a seguros por más de 1.800.000 productos de seguros. En esta experiencia, nosotros tenemos un propósito principal, y es que Crezcamos facilita el progreso de las comunidades de menores ingresos con servicios financieros inclusivos. En esto es importante porque, a diferencia de las experiencias que yo conozco, nosotros no nos enfocamos tanto en hablar de que comercializamos productos o que entregamos cierto tipo de productos, sino que, por el contrario, tenemos un propósito superior, y es facilitar el progreso de este tipo de familias como las que nosotros atendemos. Es un modelo en el cual principalmente es un modelo presencial, es un modelo en el cual nosotros hacemos presencia en estas localidades de Colombia, hacemos presencia en 13 departamentos, 406 municipios, lo hacemos a través de 93 oficinas que tenemos, 94 aliados o corresponsales y 1.383 colaboradores que están desplegados en todo el territorio atendiendo este tipo de población. Como les decía, nosotros hemos entendido que nosotros no ofrecemos productos, sino que, por el contrario, los clientes nos contratan con un objetivo específico, y ese objetivo específico son ayudarle a resolver estas 4 cosas que nosotros consideramos que son relevantes para ellos. Lo primero, el tema de productividad, y cuando hablamos de productividad lo separamos tanto en productividad agropecuaria para los clientes que se dedican a actividades agropecuarias, y progreso empresarial para los clientes que tienen actividades empresariales no agropecuarias. Para nosotros es importante entender eso desde ese punto de vista, porque no se trata solamente, o no se trata de vender productos financieros, ya sean productos de crédito o sean productos de seguros, sino, por el contrario, entender para qué nos están contratando los clientes. Y en este sentido, nosotros consideramos que estos son los 4 objetivos que los clientes quieren desarrollar en la medida en que tienen una relación con Crezcamos. Entonces, productividad agropecuaria, progreso empresarial, mejoramiento de su hábitat y la atención de emergencias financieras. Entendiendo como el objetivo principal, desde ese objetivo principal, entonces empezamos a desarrollar una oferta de soluciones de inclusión financiera que permitan que este tipo de familias puedan progresar y puedan facilitarles nosotros como compañía del progreso en estas 4 necesidades que entendemos es lo más relevante que este tipo de clientes como el nuestro tienen. Y en ese sentido, y alrededor de estas 4 necesidades de los clientes, pues nosotros tenemos una oferta integral, es una oferta de inclusión financiera, que por un lado incluye la financiación para poder invertir según el segmento productivo del cliente, ya sea un cliente agropecuario, ya sea un cliente que recibe sus ingresos a través de un negocio urbano, o ya sea también a través de una persona o una familia que recibe los ingresos de un salario. En ese mismo sentido, les ofrecemos la comercialización o la oportunidad de poderse proteger en una venta cruzada en los servicios de protección, donde nosotros no solamente les respaldamos los seguros de vida, sino que también tenemos seguros para el hogar, seguros de emergencias, seguros del negocio. Y tercero, también les ayudamos con las posibilidades que tengan para ahorrar, para que ellos también, estas familias, puedan ahorrar. En este sentido, a diferencia mucho de lo que hemos visto hoy, pues nosotros somos una compañía que basa la experiencia de distribución de seguros primero en entender que el cliente no te compra un producto, sino que el cliente está tratando de resolver otro tipo de problemas que tiene. Normalmente un cliente, cuando nosotros le salimos a preguntar si le gustaría asegurarse o si le gustaría financiarse, esa es una conversación que en la gran mayoría de casos los clientes terminan autoexcluyéndose porque sienten que esa no es la razón principal por la cual ellos están contratando la compañía. Realmente, y en este tipo de familias que nosotros nos hemos especializado en todos estos años, siempre creemos que lo que ellos están buscando es mejorar su patrimonio, mejorar su calidad de vida, y ahí es donde está nuestra oportunidad, cómo facilitarle ese progreso. Por eso, en ese sentido, cuando nosotros damos financiación para poder ayudar a que una familia pueda mejorar sus ingresos, pueda capitalizar su negocio y avanzar en ese sentido, por eso hace mucho sentido poderles ofrecer, a través de una venta cruzada, poderles ofrecer los seguros, porque son los seguros los que van creando unos colchones de protección o unos niveles de protección para que ese progreso ante eventualidades adversas que todas como familias tenemos, puedan estar de esa manera asegurados. E igualmente también ofrecemos los ahorros para que este tipo de familias, en la medida en que van generando excedentes de liquidez, ya no solamente se protejan a través de seguros, sino que también busquen una alternativa como la que es ahorrar. Y en ese conjunto, pues también estamos acompañando los programas naturalmente de educación financiera. Nosotros creemos en una presencia o en una cercanía donde nuestro equipo de colaboradores está desplegado en los territorios, está acompañando a los clientes, explicándoles en detalle de qué se tratan este tipo de soluciones. Y especialmente creemos mucho, cuando estamos hablando de seguros, creemos mucho que, sobre todo cuando estamos introduciendo primeros productos, cuando estamos introduciendo a que este tipo de familias hagan la primera compra, creemos mucho que la cercanía y la relación entre un humano y un humano es muy relevante para poder lograr ese nivel de confianza. Y en sentido también importante es que en nuestra oferta se trata de que nosotros no solamente hablamos de que somos una marca que le llegamos al cliente en estos objetivos que tiene el cliente para facilitarle ese progreso, sino que atendemos en el momento de la distribución de seguros no solamente la comercialización, sino también la atención del siniestro y el pago del siniestro. Que eso para nosotros ha sido muy relevante a nivel de servicio para que los clientes puedan creer, puedan tener mucha confianza de que estos productos que nosotros les estamos comercializando en realidad tienen mucha seguridad o tienen mucha confianza de que estos productos van a funcionar y les van a funcionar a este tipo de familias. Esta es nuestra experiencia. Ahora, en los últimos años hemos introducido canales no presenciales, tanto para la distribución como para la atención de los siniestros, pero siempre acompañado de un concepto de que no podemos hacerlo solamente con un canal, sino que por el contrario, el cliente necesita poder tener varios canales de atención donde se le esté diciendo lo mismo y donde el cliente sienta la confianza de que no solamente lo estoy atendiendo por un canal digital, donde de pronto si no tengo acceso a internet no me voy a poder comunicar con esa compañía, sino que por el contrario, si no funciona el canal digital, voy a poder voy a ir a un corresponsal, voy a poder ir a una oficina o posiblemente voy a encontrar un ejecutivo comercial que me va a poder atender y me va a poder resolver, o inclusive también en el mismo teléfono, me van a poder atender y me van a explicar qué está pasando con mi reclamo, qué está pasando con mi venta, cómo puedo comprar otro producto. Y en esa medida nosotros creemos que hemos avanzado, hemos logrado tener una tasa de conversión bastante alta y hemos podido tener una gran profundización de soluciones de protección alrededor de atender esas necesidades de progreso que las familias tienen. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Mauricio. Thank you very much. So we're going to be moving to the next section of our conversation, which is going to be a little bit more interactive. And to do this, I'm going to start the panelists with some questions. And I'll sort of guide this section with the questions, but you'll have a chance also to continue asking your questions in the chat, as well as at the end of this activity, we can open it up for audience questions as well. So the first question that I would like to bring up is, how do you ensure, and this is something all of you touched on already, right? But how do you build trust? Most of you talked about using face-to-face physical channels to build trust with clients. Are there some tools or some ways that trust can be built without that face-to-face contact, through partnerships, through digital opportunities? And how do you sort of, what does that digital or non-physical lead generation look like if you are doing it, and how effective is it? So Mauricio, I think it might be interesting to hear first from you. And I would be really excited for you to share a little bit also about the parametric experiment that you implemented this year, because it sort of leverages this issue of trust, but starts to remove the physical contact a little bit. Diego, Mauricio will answer these questions and I'll try and translate as well.
Mira, Bárbara, en la experiencia que nosotros tenemos y para eso digamos que ya vamos a completar casi las 2 millones de seguros comercializados. Yo pienso que una de las primeras herramientas importantes es nosotros siempre haber sido el responsable ante el cliente de la solución de protección o de seguros de punta a punta. Nosotros nunca le hemos tenido que decir al cliente, vaya donde la aseguradora porque yo ese tema no lo resuelvo. O esta parte del proceso lo tiene que completar usted directamente con la aseguradora. Nosotros, para poderle dar confianza a ese cliente, siempre le hemos dicho todo lo concerniente al portafolio y principalmente al portafolio de protección, usted lo va a atender con nosotros. Y nosotros le estamos proveyendo no solamente un canal no presencial, sino también le estamos proveyendo un canal presencial que le ayuda inclusive a la hora de poder hacer una reclamación. Porque lo más crítico a nuestro juicio en la comercialización de seguros y en modelos de comercialización de seguros sostenibles es el tema no solamente de lograr las ventas, y porque en algunos momentos los clientes pueden comprar porque tenían una necesidad, porque les parece interesante, porque les parece innovador lo que les están diciendo en la venta. Así muchas veces no lo entiendan. Pero realmente el momento más crítico que el cliente tiene es cuando se enfrenta a una reclamación, cuando se enfrenta inclusive al mismo pago de la indemnización. Y en ese sentido nosotros siempre hemos podido acordar con las aseguradoras que trabajamos de que tenemos que lograr nosotros ser el fronting de punta a punta en la relación con el cliente para poderle dar confianza, para que ese cliente se sienta acompañado. Y quizás en eso somos un poco antiguos en el modelo del asesor de seguros y funcionamos como ese asesor de seguros, pero le da muchísima confianza al cliente. El segundo elemento es no solamente ofrecerle un canal. Nosotros hemos visto programas de protección o de seguros que cuando el cliente tiene un problema, lo mandan a una línea telefónica a hablar, a un contact center que quizás se puede demorar o no les contestan. Y en este sentido nosotros siempre hemos dispuesto todos los canales, no solamente uno, sino varios canales presenciales y no presenciales, para que el cliente pueda interactuar y eso al cliente le da mucha confianza. Y el último elemento que me parece a mí que es muy relevante es el pago del siniestro, que nosotros a través de nuestra propia red de oficinas y a través de nuestra propia red comercial, el cliente puede ir a nuestra oficina a reclamar el pago del siniestro y eso al cliente también le ha generado muchísima confianza porque entiende que es una realidad, que los seguros no son un tema como estadístico o simplemente de una teoría comercial, sino que por el contrario son de verdad y los clientes los pueden tocar. Esa digamos que ha sido como nuestra experiencia.
Super, muchas gracias. So we're going to move to, I believe, Ashokh. No, Francisco, perdón. Francisco, if on the issue of trust and using low touch versus high touch or partnerships or other methods that can help make the touch both cost effective but also effective, right, in your lead generation.
Yes. For us, the main tool to build trust is our own quotation apps, our website, all our digital assets, because that's where we have to show, to be convincing and to be transparent with the customer about what we are selling, what we are doing. And also being transparent means share everything that it's useful for the customer, also the not so positive things, because we don't, as Mauricio said, sometimes as intermediaries, we try to sell as any way as possible, but we think different in Mango Life. We think that to build trust, we have to inform properly the customer about the products. Also talk about who is Mango Life, what we do, what explains what an intermediary does versus an insurance carrier, because that's an issue, what Mauricio said, and I agree with him that being in control of the whole process of the value chain, including claims, that also builds trust. That's something as an intermediary we lack of, and we would like to do it. We always work with insurance carriers to try to have the more control over the process. We actually have a customer call when we try to cover this. That's another tool where we try to cover this aspect for giving them trust. In this customer portal, user can download the policy, can request some service about their policy, but still we have to turn around to the insurance carrier and ask for some things. And another tool that we use for lead generation, if we see the funnel in the top part, the automation is and the trust is built relatively easy because people give you their contact information, they give you information necessary to quote. But then when it comes in the bottom part of the funnel, then we struggle to make a low touch conversion. So that's where we need the help of humans. We put it like this, and tools that we use in that part of the funnel is equip our executives, equip our humans with the correct tools so they can assess users more efficiently, in a more standardized way. So we give them tools like infographics to share in WhatsApp. We give them a powerful CRM where they can see all the interactions of the customer. So the customer feels like it's not the first time he interacts with Mango Life. All that happened before having human touch, it's recorded, all the interaction were recorded, so the human can see, our executives can see what happened and assess the customer from that point. So that's basically the difference between the top of the funnel and the bottom of the funnel, and kind of how we build trust.
Mm-hmm. Ashokh, in your case, do you want to touch on the trust? I know you work a lot with partnerships.
I think, yes, trust is very important. Number one is, and if you don't build trust with the end user of the product, the farmer or the pastoralist, then obviously they will also, it's not only us that they will not understand and they will not trust us, but they'll also not trust the aggregators. So what really happens is that there are two types of trust that we have to build. One, the aggregator also has to understand that we will meet our obligations at the right time, and it is important that the claims are paid at the right time when the triggers are announced for the crop or for the pastoral cover. But the other area that the trust also comes in is that where there is a hospital cash product that we provide through either aggregators or directly. And the hospital cash product is really a payment for premium, for payment for income supplement. So what happens is that the person is in hospital and they will get an income supplement on a nightly per night basis. So we have to make sure that they get it in time and they can appreciate that we can do it. So really, and trust really at the end of the day is built on the payment of the claims. If you don't pay the claims in time, then obviously the trust goes away. So that's something that we have to be very careful about and support.
Okay, wonderful. So I want to talk a little bit about conversion. This is the hardest thing, right? And it's also the most tricky conversation in the context of, you know, going into more remote channels, maybe not fully digital, but moving back a bit from the fully physical channel. And I would love if, I know, Ashokh, in your case, you haven't started the digital product yet, and so you don't have any conversion numbers, but perhaps you have some hypothesis about what that might look like as you move into digital. And then I would like to hear from the other speakers on those conversion numbers and how they work when you move into physical or digital and back and forth.
Well, our conversion numbers is we are hoping even though when we are bringing out that micro life product, the way we are going to market it is there are going to be 2 or 3 different ways of marketing it. First thing is that we will be making sure that the details of the product goes directly to the subscriber on a phone line. So that will be that they can convert, they basically convert on USSD. So that's something that we still need to understand. But what we have done is we've done several focus groups. And the focus groups have been with some with aggregators, some with self-help groups, and other groups which we feel that, you know, like in Kenya, we have got the motorcycle taxis, we call them boda bodas. So we have been talking to the boda boda associations to see that we can sell them the product. So what has happened is on the focus groups that we have done, especially the self-help groups and the aggregators, we have actually seen that the people in the self-help groups are really interested in looking at this product because they think that it is going to benefit them. And you know, there's something that I think a lot of us don't understand, is they don't understand life insurance, number one, but they also, those who understand that that there is life insurance, they think it is only for the rich. They don't think that it is easy for them to purchase life insurance. So what's happening is that we are doing 2 things, educating them, and also at the same time making sure that we can then use the self-help group and the partnerships they have amongst each other to actually purchase and convert the product. So we will be, hopefully, I think in November, December, we're already in November. So in December, we'll be able to work out whether our hypothesis is correct.
Bueno, en nuestro caso, okay. Que en nuestro
Barbara,
caso,
you were on mute.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mauricio. Sorry.
Okay. En nuestro caso, nosotros nos hemos sorprendido principalmente en la experiencia de la comercialización de seguros paramétricos para la agricultura, en términos del seguro de lluvias que desarrollamos en el último año y que fue comercializado en época de COVID, en tiempos de cuarentena. Y nos sorprendió porque era en un nivel donde logramos asegurar cerca de 20,000 productores agrícolas, principalmente sin ir a visitar a ningún productor. Naturalmente, ¿qué era la diferencia? Y es que en el tiempo pasado, esos clientes ya habían tenido una experiencia de protección con Crezcamos. Y sobre esa experiencia, nosotros construimos una comercialización no presencial de un producto que en su momento era un producto novedoso porque era un seguro paramétrico que funciona con triggers y que era un poco complejo podérselo explicar al cliente. Sin embargo, usamos muchas herramientas, naturalmente todas, la mayoría no presenciales, en la cual les mandamos mensajes de voz, mensajes de texto a sus celulares, dispusimos la información a través de emisoras de radio para que la gente pudiera entender el concepto general de lo que significaba un seguro paramétrico. Y posteriormente desplegamos una comercialización telefónica donde la suscripción la hacían a través del teléfono, donde también la suscripción se hacía o se podía hacer con algún ejecutivo comercial en el app de seguros en el cual podíamos hacer la suscripción. Y también los clientes podían ir a una oficina nuestra si iniciaban la venta de manera no presencial y querían asegurar que esto era real, podían ir a una oficina y completar la transacción. Nosotros tuvimos ahí sorprendentemente unos números muy buenos, logramos asegurar cerca de 20,000 productores en un seguro paramétrico, donde quizás es el volumen de seguros más grandes que se ha vendido de manera paramétrica en Colombia en casi todos los años. Entonces, creo que esos números son muy positivos, nos ha llenado de mucha confianza para poder seguir comercializando nuevos productos y productos adicionales sobre la confianza ya ganada y generada que les explicaba en la primera pregunta que nos hizo Bárbara.
Super, Mauricio, muchas gracias. Francisco.
Yes, thanks, Barbara. In our case, some numbers about our conversion. As I said, capturing leads at the top of the funnel, it's relatively easy. There is a lot of curiosity about knowing the quotation, knowing the price of the insurance, especially in life insurance. But the conversion is reduced dramatically when we talk about the bottom of the funnel. Just to give you some numbers about how is the conversion in each channel or in each way of conversion that we have. As we saw in the flow, we have like the completely automated conversion that goes from traffic sources to customer, sometimes in one shot, in one day. And we have the conversion that goes the other way, has this deviation, having low touch or having human assistance. So the automated conversion in the historic numbers of Magnoni, it's 40%. 40% of people complete the process completely automatically and automated. And 60% has some kind of assistance of a human. And sometimes this assistance is minimum. It's just the customer wants to have a confirmation of, as Mauricio said, that what I saw on the website, it's real. Please tell me, I need someone to tell me that what I'm reading is real, that there will be someone there if something happens. So please let me, I want to hear your voice and see your face in some cases. But sometimes it's very simple, the assistance. It is just telling them again what they saw in the website. And we have this 40-60. Recently, this 40 is increasing with the B2B2C strategy, where we are partnering with other players, especially fintech and neobank players. We think that is increasing this automated conversion because the user of these entities, of these fintech players, they already trust in these companies because they are already users. So it's like the partner recommending Mango Life that gives a lot of trust because we are attaching to a brand that they already know and trust. Yeah, but basically, and also I would like to share an experience. I have a previous experience regarding car insurance in an insurance company that I work. It was the other way, kind of the other way of the distribution of this percentage. We have a direct tool to buy car insurance. And when after, so it was a direct offer from the insurance carrier. So when they quote, we ask, how do you want to continue the process of your car insurance? We have two options: continue or finish the purchase online, or go to an insurance agent. And the distribution was different. The 70% of the people decided to buy through a completely digital process, and 30% wanted to talk with someone, with an agent. So why I'm saying this, because I think the product is also important. The context of the product is important. Car insurance is the most accepted or standardized insurance in Mexico and in many countries. So as the more standardized, the more also regulation, if the state asks for insurance to the users, also that makes the user to see the low touch channel as more convenient, more time efficient. So that's important, what product we are talking about. And in this case, with Mango Life, life and health products are still working on penetration in the country.
Super. So we don't have a lot of time, and I'm thinking maybe I just want to kind of wrap up with an observation question. So we've talked a bit about trust, right? And building that trust. In some cases, there's a brand that already has it. In other cases, you need to either partner with those brands or provide a lot of education and streamline processes and make the customer feel very protected in their process, including at the final claims process. We also talked about conversion, and again, kind of using that concept of trust as a really important aspect of that conversion, but also segmented clients is really important, right? That not everybody needs the same level of physical contact, though some do. And I think what my question earlier in this presentation was, do we have some answers about what are the sustainable business models today that we didn't have in the past that can leverage all of this understanding and learning to say, yes, this works. This is a sustainable, possibly profitable business model that, may have to have some physical component, but that can also start removing the physical component. So maybe you can all close on your observation about that, and then we'll see if we have time for a couple of additional questions. Let's start, Francisco, since you just spoke. Why don't we start with you?
Yeah, for me, the equation is not solved yet. I mean, we don't have the formula to have the right balance between human and tech. But I have some learnings that I could share with you that I think that we are in the correct way. From the tech side, I will say that you have to invest in this business case that you were mentioning. You have to invest in a dedicated IT team oriented to product management. You have to understand that creating these low touch channels is like evolving a product, a constant evolving of a product. We do that with our quotation apps. We're always measuring and seeing the main KPIs of where the conversion drop off, and then we go with our marketing, IT, and sales team and try to figure out what we can do to improve the conversion. So it's very important to have these dedicated teams, IT, marketing, and sales, and also to consider integration with powerful and solid software tools to your apps, to your quotation apps, in this case for Mango Life. I will say to put an special attention to two types of software, like CRMs and software analytics, to measure everything in your funnel. That's one part of the business case. And the other one, in the human perspective, we have to learn to prioritize where to put the human touch in the funnel. In our case, it's at the bottom of the funnel with leads that we see that are very close to the sale. But also, as long as the portfolio of customers grow, we also have to put some effort in the post-sale service. So as long as we are not more in control in the insurance value chain, we have to have some manual work over there. And finally, some points about business strategy. I will say the most important here for the low touch is the KPIs. to monitor very closely or your traffic sources, which one are the most efficient, your cost per lead, how much does it cost to get a quotation, how much does it cost to purchase a purchase of an insurance, and measure the conversion across the whole funnel. And finally, something that we learn in Mango Life is if you are building a digital front end, try to build like in a backend and a front end, like separated. Why do I say this? Because our B2B2C strategy, once you have this development in place, you can plug and play with other players, your insurance solution. Sometimes insurance is not a want product, it's more a need product. And when people see the offer in other front end, for example, in this neobank, if they see that they have easily and very convenient protection, if you build your product in a very disconnected way of your front end to be connected with any other front end, that would be very convenient for your business.
I think that's a great insight and one that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Francisco. Ashokh, I'm going to move to you and then Mauricio to close up. So going back to sort of the business case and like the sustainability of removing a little bit of touch, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, basically on our traditional products like health, motor, travel insurance, what we have is that a lot of it we try to generate through the web. And, people basically would look at our websites and come through the website and then put in the leads. So when the leads are generated, we go from the low touch to a high touch. Then we would have our customer service center talking to each individual person and explaining to them the products that they have, giving them quotations, and also then agreeing the terms of the policies. And when payment is made, the policy will be issued. The interesting thing that has happened is that we did two things this year. The first thing was we brought out a motor app, which was completely digital. And the motor app on the digital would be that all the motor covers were to be done on the app. And there we basically used to find that where we had an intermediary and agent assisting the customer, then they were using the motor app. But directly they were not really reluctant, they were reluctant to use it. But then on the other area that we found is that we have used, when COVID started, a lot of inquiries came for health covers, because people were worried about, they're being told that insurance are not covering COVID. So we said that we are covering COVID. So a lot of people were actually worried about the cost of the health covers, the treatment that they would require. And so we found a lot of inquiries coming through, and all of them were actually converted by our customer service centers into policies. And we have had the highest ratio of individual and family health covers being taken in the last 6 to 8 months since the COVID was basically declared. So we have seen that it requires both. It requires an idea of the customer to being able to approach us, and we then go and market the products and conclude the sale. So that's where our areas of the digitization and low touch come in.
Very parallel experience in a very different world and model. Mauricio, ¿en tu caso?
Yo creo que mi visión de esto es que va a tener que tener un modelo multicanal o omnicanal, donde el cliente pueda combinar sus momentos de consumo entre canales presenciales y canales no presenciales, que le permitan a él, de acuerdo a su circunstancia, poder interactuar con un canal o el otro. Yo en entender muy bien la segmentación de qué tipo de cliente estamos sirviendo y el cliente para qué nos está contratando, cuál es el objetivo principal que el cliente necesita de nosotros como compañía y no solamente como productos. Pero creo que hay un trabajo por hacer y hay un trabajo hacia adelante para mejorar, y es que en esa combinación de canales tenemos que aprender también a entender cómo los clientes se pueden segmentar en el uso de la tecnología. O sea, ya no se trata solamente de las características sociodemográficas o del tipo de portafolio que consume, sino también cómo interactúa con la tecnología. En los últimos meses, en la experiencia que nosotros tuvimos, hemos visto productores agrícolas muy pequeños con un acceso a la tecnología bastante relevante y con un uso y una adopción tecnológica bastante grande. Y hemos visto también productores agrícolas en los mismos territorios con los cuales la tecnología no quieren saber nada de la tecnología. Entonces yo creo que eso es un trabajo que todavía tenemos que seguir aprendiendo, tenemos que seguir entendiendo esa segmentación por uso de tecnología y combinarla con las segmentaciones que tenemos para poder perfeccionar mejor los canales no presenciales y también fortalecer o permitir que mejoren los canales presenciales. Yo creo que ese mundo es el que se viene hacia adelante y en el que nosotros creemos.
Súper, muy interesante. We have about 8 minutes left in this activity, so I'm going to open for questions. Rather than reading the questions in the chat, I think given the last comments were so interesting, perhaps you can just put a question now in the chat if you have a question, and we can start with anything that's new. And I can try and unmute you if you're interested and would rather just speak. Okay, if not, I will go back and pull out some of the questions in the chat. I feel like a lot of them were already answered, but let me see if I can sort of quickly. So there are a lot of questions, Mauricio, about your parametric product. More technical questions related to the data and measurement and insurer behind it. Perhaps you can give a little bit of insight there. There was also a question on gender and whether any of you have data that shows the different behavior of women and men. And then we just got that again from Sarah. So maybe we can go to the gender first, and then Mauricio loves that question. And then afterwards, we can move to the parametric and give a little more explanation. Francisco, in your case, you're a data junkie. Do you have gender disaggregated data?
Well, what I have in mind that I could share is the conversion or the customers disaggregated by gender. In life, it's very the tendency is for men. We have a 70-30 policy holder, 70 men, 30 women. And in health, it happens the other way around. We have a 60-40 distribution, 60 for women and 40 for men. And what I could say for life, it's not so surprisingly, but it could be also like a bias with our marketing, perhaps, because we establish like a male, primarily at the beginning, like a male household. And then we started to identify that also we have female household and single mothers. And that's why we start like a bit of a penetration with women, but still not. So it's very far one from other. And for women, I can see that they are more aware of the health in this plus 40 years, plus 50 years. So that's what we see with our numbers.
Great. Does Ashokh or Mauricio, do you want to add anything on this gender question, or should we move? Go for it, Ashokh.
No, I think on gender is one thing is that when you are talking about life, we feel that this is something that we have seen in Kenya, is that there are more women taking out life insurance, especially the education related, because there are so many of them who are single mothers. And so we are hoping that when we bring our micro life product into the marketplace, we think that it's going to be the same, that there'll be more women taking it out than men.
Yeah. And these are physical channels, right? They're not digital channels.
No, but the digital channel is the micro life product that will come very much.
So you do think that women will take that up?
We think that women will take that up. I think there are more, even if you go into the rural areas of Kenya, the farming a lot of the farming is done by the women. Men work in towns, the women do the farming at home.
Great. Mauricio, maybe you can just describe the parametric product a little bit, if that's okay, unless you want to answer the gender question, because there were quite a few questions about it. I think it's a quite innovative initiative in Colombia, and maybe just give a little more background on the insurer and the product. And I think it would be worth talking about the back end and the data as well, and the integration.
Bueno, con relación al tema de género, yo creo que nosotros, creo que uno puede desarrollar productos, digamos, con un ángulo, con un enfoque de género. Sin embargo, creo que en el uso de la tecnología o en el uso de canales presenciales y no presenciales, creo que eso todavía está por explorar y por ir aprendiendo si podrían haber algunas diferencias o digamos, algunas prioridades alrededor del género en el uso de canales presenciales o no presenciales. En relación al tema paramétrico, este es un seguro que desarrollamos con una aseguradora colombiana que se llama HDI Colombia, con un aliado mexicano que es Proagro de México. Nosotros obviamente funcionamos como el distribuidor o como el canal, le arrendamos el canal para la comercialización, pero hacemos, digamos, todo el trabajo de punta a punta, como les decía al comienzo. Es un seguro de lluvias que se mide a través de dos triggers o dos periodos de triggers, en el cual hay un mínimo y un máximo, y sobre el máximo o sobre el mínimo acumulado durante un periodo de 2 meses, dos veces, o sea, un periodo total de 4 meses, nosotros pagamos si el trigger que nos informa a través de un satélite no alcanza a lograr, ya sea por debajo de sequía, no alcanza a lograr el nivel mínimo de lluvia que requiere o que está planteado en el municipio, o si por el contrario excede el máximo tolerable del producto, porque hubo un exceso de lluvia también planteado en cada uno de los municipios. Es una póliza que no requiere inspección en el momento de la suscripción, ni tampoco requiere inspección en el momento de la atención del siniestro. Es una póliza que también tiene apoyo del gobierno local, del gobierno nacional de Colombia, que subsidia una parte de la prima del seguro, y el resto, pues, una pequeña porción de la prima la paga el cliente. Realmente es una oportunidad muy grande para los clientes porque pues no habían estos productos fáciles de adquirir, y por eso yo creo que también fue la oportunidad de que el cliente estuvo dispuesto a usar canales no presenciales a partir, como les dije anteriormente, de la confianza que ya tenía en que Crezcamos les ha vendido seguros anteriormente y adicionalmente les ha pagado las reclamaciones que han presentado. Entonces, esa ha sido nuestra experiencia. Estamos esperando, el 30 de noviembre cierra totalmente nuestro periodo de lluvias, y estamos preparándonos ya para poder masificar, todavía hacerlo mucho más grande, tanto a clientes y no clientes de Crezcamos, a nivel nacional, y poder aumentar el número de asegurados en el siguiente semestre, porque este es un producto que solamente se vende por temporadas, en las temporadas de lluvia, que en el caso de Colombia es primer semestre y segundo semestre.
Muy bien, muchas gracias. So thank you all for participating. We actually are at the end time of this event. I want to make sure we don't keep you from others. But I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank our panelists for sharing so much information about their models in such an honest way. Please feel free to follow up if you have additional questions. This will be recorded and posted, and you will be able to access the materials. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for such
Bye-bye.
a great session. Thank you to all the panelists, also to the interpreters. Great for putting this together. And I welcome everyone to the next session, which starts at 4 p.m., analyzing the client value of hospital cash products. So stay tuned and see you soon. Bye-bye.